Welcome back to another episode of Fifth Block Sports. It is January 19th, 2023. It is Thursday. We're changing things up. So, for our viewers, you're going to see a couple episodes, shorter episodes. We're going to give you a jam packed kind of 20 to 30 minute segment. But you'll have 3 videos to choose from. You can hopefully listen to them all. But if not, pick and choose what you want to listen to. We're going to start off again. This is Fifth Block Sports. You can find us on YouTube, Twitter, and then on gonorthman.org/podcast. Go check us out in all 3 of those. You can see it on the bottom of your screen now. And give those other podcasts a listen. The Chop, all access Oak Park podcast. So anything Oak Park sports related, you'll find there. Go check them out. They're awesome. Let's jump into it. We got a quick rundown real quick. We are going to break down both the AFC and the NFC wildcard, and then we're going to give you our 3 biggest takeaways from that crazy wildcard weekend. Let's get into it. You want to start NFC or AFC?
AFC.
Let's go AFC. All right. AFC, first game we're going to talk about, we have the Jaguars 31, the Chargers 30. Let's just get kind of just blunt reaction here. Ashton, you watched this game. What did you get out of this one?
I think the Chargers need a new head coach,
I agree.
and I think that the Jaguars are going to be for real.
Interesting.
And
For
I don't
real?
think, maybe not this year, but like next year.
Like a team to watch for, up and coming?
Because I think this year they kind of got the AFC South when it was kind of weak.
Yeah.
So I think next year they'll be for real.
Yeah,
Jalen, what about you?
yeah, I'm gonna go with I just said. I think the Jags might be they might be good next year. And I was out on for me and someone that go here, Jacozy. We was out for our birthday, and I was watching the game because we was at Betos. I was watching the game there.
Mhm.
It was like 27-0. I'm like, what? Because I saw Trevor Lawrence throw 4 picks, and I was like,
And like the
What's-
first quarter, too.
yeah, I was like, what's going on? To the same person, Sante
Yeah.
Samuel. He had 3 back-to-back. I'm like, oh. Then I was like, we left from there, and I looked up the score again. I'm like, they were coming back. It was like 17-27, I think it was.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then I saw it again. I'm like, 30 to. It was like 30 to. I don't remember, but it was a close game.
It was like 30-28 or something like
yeah,
that.
I was like, what?
And you know what I have written down here is, and you kind of said it last show, Chargers ended up charging things up and just, they get out to this lead. They have an incredible start, and looking back, watching that first quarter, I'm like, oh, it was a good story. Trevor Lawrence wins his last game to make it into the playoffs, and they're going to get bounced. And it started off ugly. It looked like Jacksonville couldn't do anything, and Chargers were just kind of, the ball was literally just falling into their lap, and then they could just, do whatever they wanted. It ended up 27-0. I'm like, okay, this game's over. And then sure enough, Chargers find a way to charge things up and make it a ball game, which is interesting because Brandon Staley is considered a defensive-minded coach, but I feel like he gives up so many points all the time to these teams and lets teams kind of fight their way back into games when they've got some stars on that defense. It's not like they have a bad defense. I don't understand how you can give up that many points that quickly.
What happened with the Joey Bosa situation? I know he got a flag, but I don't know. Is it because he said something crazy to the ref?
I think the flag was for when he took his helmet off and smashed on the ground because he was still on the field. I think that's what the flag was for.
But the ref was talking to him, and then he threw it.
And he threw it?
I don't know. His helmet wasn't off yet.
Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure on that one, but
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
I know he had some comments to say that, the refs kind of cost him their season, but at the same time, Joey, you're up 27-0. I mean, you're on defense. It's your job to stop them. Credit Trevor Lawrence for not kind of giving up. I mean, throwing 4 interceptions in your first playoff quarter, it's got to be tough, but then to hang in and end up throwing, 4 touchdowns? I think they were all 4 passing touchdowns.
It was so good.
Props to him. He looks good. But back to the Chargers, you're wasting Herbert's good years here. You don't have to pay him yet. So you have weapons around him. You're going to have to pay the man. And that's where I think you lose some of that wide receiver talent that they've been lucky enough to have just because they have the cap room at the time. So
I think you touched on it. They're not just wasting Herbert; they're wasting that good team that they built.
Yeah,
that's a pretty on paper. That's a really good team.
Yeah,
I don't know how they screwed it up this bad.
Most of their team is injury prone too, so I think that's what the problem is too.
Well, it didn't help that he played all his starters last week or 2 weeks ago
Mhm.
in an unnecessary game.
Yep.
I
That
mean,
meant nothing.
and they're missing their corner, J.C. Jackson, which you can tell they need.
They
him.
needed it.
Well, I think I heard though he was kind of struggling whenever he was playing.
Was
He
in.
Yeah, he was kind of a little disappointed.
Wasn't
You know,
the same guy.
yeah, he definitely could have got back on track, but
Hmm.
that was early in the year.
So we know the Chargers have fired their offensive coordinator. I think that saves Staley's job for one more year at least, if not more. Are there any other changes? I know, Ashton, you're shaking your head. I think he needs. I'm agreeing with you. I think he needs to go. What other change? Obviously, I don't think they're going to fire him this year. What other changes can be made moving on going into next year?
Maybe look at D coordinator.
Mm.
I just maybe
Yeah.
look at it.
Yeah,
I
consider.
don't think anyone on that staff should be safe.
No,
I don't think anyone should.
and
They need to add to the offensive line too.
it'd be a sought after job. I think with the stars and the pieces they have there, that's a perfect situation for somebody to come into. I think them making the playoffs and then firing their offensive coordinator saved Staley's job at least one more year. But it would not surprise me if he's out next year if they don't make a big splash. But end of the day, Chargers charger things up and the Jags move on. 31-30.
Yeah, I think the Chargers need defensively. They need to maybe add another pass rusher, and then they need to add a bunch of linebackers because that linebacking core probably is the worst in the AFC West.
Yeah,
Because
They
I
need
mean, the
to-
Broncos have a
they're
good one.
aging.
Ours is
young,
starting to come,
fast.
and then the Raiders is pretty nice. I think it's underrated. I think the Chargers have the worst linebacking core in the league or in the AFC West, and they have to fix that.
The Chargers probably need another wide receiver too,
I would say that. I would say
because of the Mike situation. He's always either he's going to play or he's always injured.
Yeah.
That's fair.
You just don't know. He's almost like a 50-50 guy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I see that. So yeah, that was Jags 31, Chargers 30. Chargers go home on that game. Jags move on and will face our beloved Chiefs this weekend. We'll get to that in the second show. So if you're looking for the Chiefs-Jags kind of preview, go and check out our next video. Let's move on. AFC, we have Bills 34, Dolphins 31. Allen and the Bills look beatable. Allen continues to turn the ball over, leave points on the field. A lot of people are still comparing Mahomes and Allen. Go look at the numbers. It's not even close.
You can't
It's
compare them.
it's not even close. I get it. Josh Allen is a great football player. He's just not on the same level, and I don't think anybody's on the same level as Mahomes. But back to this game, we had Bills 34, Dolphins 31. Jalen, what was your kind of reaction to this one? I didn't think the Dolphins had much of a chance, although I did pick them as maybe my upset. Skylar Thompson plays well. What did you see out of that?
Yeah, like you said, Skylar Thompson played very well coming in as a rookie. As his first playoff game, he played really well. But like you said, the Bills struggle. The Dolphins is, I would say they're a terrible team, but they're a mid team. So yeah, they kind of struggle against a mid team, which I think the Bills could have blew them out.
Yeah.
But like you said, the turnovers Josh Allen be doing, like it's critical turnovers too.
Mm-hmm. And there will be times where I feel like their offense is just rolling, just marching down the field, and then he'll have a bonehead interception or a fumble in the red zone. It seems like a lot where it's just like almost like what are you thinking? What are you doing? And it costs them points, and sooner or later it's going to catch up to them. Hopefully, before the Super Bowl, maybe we knock them out. But yeah, Ashton, what did you see out of this Dolphins Bills game?
I think the Bills' defense. I mean, everyone already kind of knew this, but they definitely exposed their biggest weakness on defense, and that's the DB core.
Yeah.
It's definitely the weakest part of the team. I think we can easily beat that if we play them, and I think the Bengals can too.
I mean, not a knock on Skylar Thompson. He's an NFL quarterback for a reason and former K-State Wildcat. But if Skylar Thompson can put up 31 points, coming in, he started a few games this year in relief of Teddy and Tua. But again, you're a playoff game. You're on the road. It's your first playoff start, and you put up 31 points against the 2 seed in the Bills. That's pretty impressive. And like you said, it shows the holes that the Bills have in their secondary, and teams will be able to kind of pick them apart.
I'm not gonna lie, Dolphins they had a chance. It's just too many drop passes too.
Yeah. I think the mix of the cold weather, again, cold weather with those uniforms, there goes my theory. But
Tyreek Hill
Tyree.
He had a
keeps
lot.
dropping.
I know.
Keeps dropping.
He had a lot.
I was hoping that was going to end. But he keeps doing it.
Jalen Waddle had a lot too.
It's Tyreek slipping off on him.
And again, like we said last week, I mean, I love Tyreek. I love what he did here in Kansas City. We gave him that chance, but it does feel good to see him get bounced after all the talking he did of just like, oh. And even to that point, if we go back a little bit, remember that Keenan Allen tweet of as soon as Tyreek got traded, he's like, oh, people are going to be exposed this year. Who was exposed, Keenan?
Yeah, you're right.
Who was exposed? Right. So, yeah, that was Bills 34. Dolphins 31. Not surprised the Bills win there, but great fight from the Dolphins. That was an entertaining game. You didn't know where the ball was going to end up. It seemed like on every play there's a scramble for it. Our last game in the AFC, kind of a head scratcher. The Bengals didn't play all too well. The Ravens aren't great and really had a chance to win this one. The final score ended up being Bengals 24, Ravens 17 on a. Did they end up labeling a 98-yard fumble recovery?
Mm-hmm.
So if you missed it, Ravens have the ball, second or third and goal. I think it was third and goal at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Third and goal from about just outside the 1. Go for a QB sneak. Tyler Huntley tries to reach across the line. Ball gets batted out of his hands, and Hubbard returns the fumble 98 yards for eventually the game-winning touchdown for Cincinnati. The Ravens were really close to winning this thing. I think if the Ravens score there and force the Bengals to march down and get a touchdown, I don't think they do it.
The Ravens was actually getting stops on the Bengals, so I could see them stopping the Bengals.
And I get it. It's a Bengals-Ravens game, and Ravens are kind of like that Titans team. They muddy games up. It's not pretty. A lot of low-scoring games, but the Ravens really gave the Bengals fits, I think, all game. And I think if they score there, they win this game, and we play Baltimore instead of Jacksonville. The Bengals squeak by. Thoughts, Ashton, on this one?
I think there was some questionable coaching calls at the end of the game.
Okay.
Like after the first one for me would be after the which came first? I think it was 3rd and 20. You're in 4-down territory and you try to throw it deep to the end zone instead of trying to
like a chunk play.
Yeah, instead of trying to get like 10, 11 yards or 5 yards to kind of knock down the length you have to go.
Yeah.
And also, maybe I missed something, but it seemed like they had 2 timeouts. They threw an incompletion. I looked away. I came back and they only had 1 timeout. I don't know if I missed something, but I was like,
maybe they use it for play clock. Maybe I don't know.
That doesn't even. But
Didn't
the
even-
play
But
didn't even.
the clock would have stopped.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense that they.
I didn't notice that either.
Yeah,
Interesting.
That's kind of stupid that you wasted one of your timeouts.
Yeah.
On a 3rd and 20 incompletion.
That's odd. And yeah, I agree. I think you're in 4-down territory and you know that. Why take 2 deep shots? Why not make it a 4th and 11 or a 4th and 9 and get that chunk play? Because if you look at a 4th and 20, I mean, you got to get 20 yards no matter what. You cut that in half, you still have the threat of getting someone loose over the top and throwing the deep ball in 4th down, or just picking up a first down and live to see another play.
If you would have saved your timeout, you could have just. I mean, you could have just gone for 9 yards.
Yeah.
And then
Timeout, and then.
Then you get timeout, and at that point you're gonna throw to the end zone so you can get at least 3-4 tries to.
Yeah.
Get it, because since you're not gonna be running around, you're not gonna hand it off, throw it to somebody that's out of the end zone. You're gonna throw it to the end zone. So it's gonna be an incompletion or a touchdown or a pick.
A lot of speculation with Lamar. What does this game look like if Lamar plays? Is there any difference there?
They win.
You think they win?
Mm-hmm. I saw. I don't know if it was a tweet, but I saw J.K. Dobbins say something. If they have Lamar, they win.
They win. I think so too. I think it was kind of an odd game, and just not a knock on Tyler Huntley or anything. He's serviced the Ravens well as he's been in, but yeah, I think Lamar just brings that next level playmaker ability, and he finds himself in the end zone on that goal line set. And I know with Huntley there, it kind of limits what they can do in the red zone as compared to Lamar. So I would agree. I think they win this game, and we see the Bengals kind of bounce from the playoffs. My other question is, do you see Lamar in a Ravens jersey again? You know, he had the knee injury, week 13, 14? Said he's going to be back by week 17, playoffs for sure. That time rolls around, and I get it. You want to stay healthy. I think there's something underlying of, is Lamar done with the Ravens? Are the Ravens done with Lamar? Is it, Lamar can only take us this far? Or is it Lamar saying, I'm done with this organization. Why risk myself? Why risk injury when I can go play next year fully healthy for somebody else? What do you guys think?
I just saw a tweet of Ian, the reporter, saying that Jim Harbaugh was saying that they want to keep Lamar. It was like, he said like 200% we're going to keep Lamar. Something like that they were saying.
Yeah, they said they're going to try and re-sign him, and then odds are if they don't reach a contract, they're going to tag him. The problem with the tag is, just because you tag him doesn't mean he's going to play.
Yeah, I think it's true.
I think the tag is stupid. They need to take it out. That's, in my opinion, they need to take the tag out. It's so stupid. It doesn't need to be there.
And the funny thing too with Lamar, if they do franchise tag him, that's the most money he'll make up to this point in the NFL. So it's not like he's getting ripped off, but at the same time, I agree with you. I think it's a way around it for organizations that kind of lock players in when they know they can be making a lot more.
Yeah,
but
the thing is that he's going to be a free agent in March. Like, it's not like, if he doesn't want to sign, then we can just trade him. It's not how it's going to work.
It's not that easy.
Did y'all see what J.K. Dobbins said? He said, you should have handed the ball off to. I don't know if it's shade toward the head coach or the quarterback, but he said you should have handed the ball off to me down in the red zone.
on that goal line play, just like Russell Wilson should have handed off to Marshawn Lynch in the Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind going for the QB sneak just because it's got a high success rate this year, but man, these quarterbacks they're balancing that line. We finally saw it where, yes, you score if you break the plane, but you got to be certain you can break the plane. I think Huntley thought he was a little closer than he was, because on replay I was like, oh, he might have easily got this across, but he really didn't gain anything when he stuck the ball out. So
he was like 2 yards away.
Yeah, I think he got pushed back, and so that was my first thought: is they're gonna review this. It's gonna say they broke the plane, whatever. And then I saw it, and I was like, oh, he's not even close. So that puts the Bengals matching up with the Bills. Again, that'll be in our next video. But that was Bengals 24, Ravens 17. And that kind of wraps up our AFC side of Wild Card Weekend. Let's jump to the NFC side. First game, we had 49ers 41, Seahawks 23. My notes here, Seahawks looked good for about 2/3 of the game, and then the 49ers just kind of showed their dominance of why they're the 49ers. I think, their defense, their athleticism on the offensive side, all the weapons they have just kind of, it's hard to hold that team down for 4 quarters. And, credit to Seattle. They did everything they could. But at the same time, Brock Purdy has this offense humming right now. He's 6-7-0 now as a starter, and he's rolling. He's looking good in his playoff debut, but I think he faces the biggest test next week against the Cowboys. Jalen, what do you see out of the 49ers moving forward?
I see that they're going to be a hard team to stop. That defense is really good, and the offense is really good too. I mean, they kill a lot of people when they run the play actions because they think they're going to hand the ball off to Christian McCaffrey, but it's a play action coming and they can hit you over the top easily. But I'm saying that team's good.
They're kind of scary.
Mm-hmm.
Ashton, what about you?
Well, whenever we did our last episode, I said the Seahawks Niners was going to be the potential for the biggest upset.
Yeah.
And for 2/3 of the game,
it looked like
good.
It. Yeah. I was like, wow, Seahawks are gonna, if they find themselves in this thing, they could easily win this.
And then the fourth quarter came around, and that went away.
Yeah. And it was quick too. I mean, I think what was it? 20. It was like a 6-point game at one point. I was like, oh, Seattle's got the ball, and then it was 2 quick 49er touchdowns that just kind of led to that.
That touchdown to DK, I was like, oh, the Seahawks might have
one. Yeah. I thought they found something there for a minute, and then just kind of, like I said, 49ers just kind of did 49er things. Question for Seattle moving forward. What happens with Geno next year? Do the Seahawks bring him back? Is this as far as they can take him? It's been a magical run for Geno. Is this a sustainable quarterback for the future in Seattle? Do they go draft somebody? Do they let Drew Lock kind of do Drew Lock things in Seattle? Well, What would you like to see?
I think right now they have a quarterback because Geno Smith, he didn't really have a bad year. So I think right now they have a quarterback.
And I think he's a free agent, if I
Yes.
remember. He is.
Yeah,
So maybe they sign him like a 1-year deal.
I'm happy that he'll probably get like a 2-3.
You think?
Well, because there's other teams that are quarterback desperate enough they'll give him like
Yeah.
2-3 year deal.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of was talking about, that they do actually really want to bring him back. So I'm happy that he's probably gonna get paid this offseason. Not like,
Good for
I'm
him.
not saying he's gonna get like 100 million or anything, but he'd get like 30 million.
Decent chunk.
You know, that's good.
So that was, 49ers 41, Seahawks 23 in a close game for 3 quarters, and then, 49ers just kind of pulled away. The next game, and Ashton hit this right on the head saying Saquon was going to have a big game
said
for
it.
them to win. Giants 31, Vikings 24. Daniel Jones is playing his best football right now, both through the air and on the ground. He's a sneaky quick runner. I think he's racked up the yards this year, but I'm going to start with Ashton. Like you said, Barkley steps up, and kind of how are they able to kind of attack this Minnesota defense?
Because it sucks. You know? It
Straight
sucks.
up. It's just bad defense.
Terrible. They let Isaiah Hodgins get 8 receptions, 105 yards. Not pretty. It's not good.
Yeah.
And they let Darius Slayton had a good game. Like,
Yeah.
it's a terrible defense. Saquon though is a beast. Now, he had 100 yards total. He only had 53 yards rushing, but he had 56 yards receiving. So he had 100 yards total. Like I said, he was gonna have to have a big game. He did. Also had 2 touchdowns. Daniel Jones, he looks good. I want to see what he looks like next week against the Eagles. That's going to be his real.
That's gonna be the
'cause
test,
Like
yep.
I said, Minnesota's defense is terrible.
Mhm.
They made I think it was Matt Ryan. They made Matt Ryan look like himself for a half, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
choked the lead.
Yep. Jalen, what about you?
The Giants did what the Packers did, shut down Justin Jefferson. Just Jefferson only had 47 yards. But like what Adrian said last week, Saquon had to go crazy, which he did, though. And
I mean, you find Kirk Cousins doing Kirk Cousin things in big spotlights. He throws a check down with the season on the line. I mean, you got to get a first down and you're throwing for 4 yards on a 3rd and 8 or 4th and 8 play.
literally, like I've been saying this whole year, it's literally a one-man show.
Yeah.
When you shut down Justin Jefferson, you can see there's
Which
no one
is-
else to go to.
Which is crazy because the pieces they have on offense, it shouldn't be just a win.
Yeah, and they've got guys, and I don't know if it's a trust thing or just, maybe Kirk knows that Jefferson can go get balls that others can't, and so he just relies on that. But we've been saying it since episode 1. It can't be a one-man show. It's not going to work, and they're sitting on the couch, and the Giants are moving on. So again, that was Giants 31, Vikings 24. That was our second NFC matchup. Our last game of the night, I'm not gonna lie, I was blown away by this one. I know you guys both had the Cowboys. I had the Bucks. I wasn't gonna go against Tom Brady, but we had Cowboys 31, Bucks 14. This wasn't a game all night. I mean, it never looked like the Bucks were even interested. It looked like their offense was in quicksand. No one looked good. Tom was pressured and throwing balls into the ground left and right.
Like I said last year, I was going to get frustrated because of the pressure.
And, the only positive out of this Bucks game was I took the Tom Brady completions over and the attempts over. And it was like 23 completions and about 42 attempts. Crushed that. I mean, he threw the ball almost 60 times that game. So that helped me out. Oh no, my laptop's going to die. That helped me out. Cowboys, came to play. The story all week is, the history of the Cowboy early exit in the playoffs. And they had to face Tom and the Bucks. So I thought, Tom's going to do Tom things and the Cowboys are going to choke it out. But I think this was Dak's best game that he's played all year. What do you guys think? I'm going to go grab my charger. I want you guys to talk about this one.
Like you said, this was probably Dak's best game of all year. What Ashton was saying last week too was, didn't you say that you think that they should put Trayvon on Mike Evans?
Yep.
Yeah, and they did it, and it worked though. I mean, I think they put like safety help over the top too.
Yeah, they did play safety. They played Malik Hooker. They played him over the top.
Yeah, but
I mean,
they did
and
shut down
had
Mike
to.
Evans.
Yeah, because like I said, the focus would have been. It's kind of the same Tampa Bay's kind of the same as Minnesota. Like if you shut down Mike Evans.
Yeah, I mean, and they have good receivers too. You got Chris Godwin. But
And and I know Mr. Cannell was saying that he was shocked by the game, but honestly, like I kind of thought it was going to be done by halftime. Like I kind of just, I don't know why. I just assumed that it was going to be done by halftime. I didn't feel like this was going to be a good game today. And I think Tom should retire.
yeah, like I was saying, it's not the regular Bucks defense we know. The regular Bucks defense we would not give up 31 points.
Yeah, they lost that edge.
Which is weird because they didn't even lose a lot of pieces. Really,
It's the same people.
The only major piece they lost was Jason Pierre-Paul.
That's it. And I mean, he was aging out. He did apply some pressure, the past couple of years, but it wasn't like it was a superstar.
And we know Todd Bowles as a defensive coordinator, but I don't think he's really good as a head coach to me. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not good
I
as a
don't
head
think
coach.
he's there yet. I think it's too much on his plate, but yeah. Dak throwing for 305, 4 touchdowns. He spread the ball around too. It wasn't just one guy. I know Schultz had a big game, CD here and there. I mean, they've got weapons. Now can they build off of that and, continue to win playoff games and maybe find themselves in a Super Bowl? Who knows? But yeah, and credit to Ashton. I mean, as I stepped and got my charger, I heard you guys talking about that they shut down Mike Evans and, Chris Godwin didn't look himself. But
he hasn't all year.
He really hasn't. He
Injuries.
gets his catches, but I think he's banged up enough where he doesn't kind of trust his body 100%. So
Yeah. I'm happy. Happy Russell Gage is going to be okay.
yes,
Oh, yeah.
that was kind of scary.
Yeah.
I was like,
not
all
again.
over again.
Not again.
Yep. But that's good news that he was all right and gonna be able to make a recovery. But yeah, Tom goes out. Was that the last time we see Tom Brady on a football field?
I'll say no because I hear rumors that it's either he's going to go to I think it was like the Niners, the Raiders, and another team. So I wouldn't say no. I just hear rumors.
Why would he go to the Niners? What they got 2 quarterbacks. I mean 3 really that going to be competing for that job. It's going to be like a college football
Hey,
quarterback
that's just
battle.
rumors.
I think the only realistic is probably the Raiders.
That's what I was gonna. I think Raiders, and it wouldn't surprise me if he goes back to the Patriots.
Yeah. Well,
Him and Bill one more
you
time.
think Bill ready to give up on Mac Jones?
If you're bringing in Tom Brady for one last dance, why not?
I mean, maybe Mac wants a lot.
Yeah, and maybe he sits and learns and then is ready to go the next year.
I think another reason a lot of people are going to want Brady to go to the Raiders. They want Mahomes versus Brady 2 times. That'd be good.
That would be good.
Good.
Good money. Yep. So that again was a shocker to me. No shock to you guys. Cowboys 31, Bucks 14. Tom Brady did not look himself. Dak plays his best game of the season. So that brings us to kind of our closing point for this episode. Again, we're bringing you shorter episodes, but more of them. So check out all our videos. They're going to be great. So to close this episode up, let's do our 3 biggest takeaways of Wild Card Weekend. One from us each. Let's go reverse order. Ashton, I'll start with you. Kind of talked about it, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think Tom Brady's done. I think it's time. He was done last year, but I think it's time this year. He needs to go. And I already said this too. Chargers need a new head coach. Staley is he's just not getting it done.
Yep.
And I don't think he really ever will. He hasn't proved that he's learned his mistakes, and he's going to improve it. And I think it's time for him to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, as a Chiefs fan, I'd love for them to keep him.
Oh, yeah.
Give him a
why
5-year extension.
Keep him there.
And then last, I think this is the most notable one. I think Buffalo and Cincinnati, especially Cincinnati more than last year, are beatable for the Chiefs.
Yep. I think if we face Cincinnati again, I think this year we get over that obstacle, get over that hurdle.
And that difference maker we didn't have against Cincinnati, Kadarius Toney.
Oh man,
he's a bad man. Jalen, what was your biggest takeaway?
Like y'all both said, the Bengals and Bills are very beatable, but the Bills and Dolphins game, the biggest takeaway for me was the Bills struggled against the Dolphins, and they're like I said, they're a mid team, and the turnover too. Josh Allen, the problem Josh Allen has with the turnovers, That's probably the biggest problem I had.
Yeah, I think it's going to catch up to them. And then my biggest takeaway, Cowboys look like they figure out their playoff struggles. And then, like we both said, Bills and Bengals kind of stumble. And hopefully that continues in the divisional round because, like you said, they look beatable. So again, this was episode 1 of today of January 19th. Stick around for or go find our other videos again on YouTube. You interact with us on Twitter or listen to us on gonorthman.org/podcast. Thank you for joining us. Again, check out our other videos. There'll be more posted. See ya.